All right.
Join Fearless TV at the second annual Fearless Festival from 3 to 9 p.m. Sunday, August the 24th at Pigeon Park, corner of Hastings and Carroll. Fearless Festival programs will also be at the Interurban Gallery and the Blackwater Cafe. More info, www.fearlessfest.blogspot.com.
Hello and welcome to Fearless TV. My name's Paul Ryan and we're here in Gallery Gachet in Vancouver, and this afternoon we're talking to Sister Elizabeth Kelliher. She's the president of the Downtown Eastside Residents Association, and she's also one of the 4 Franciscan Sisters of the Atonement here in Vancouver. First question I would like to ask Sister Elizabeth is what brought you to DERA, and what is it that you do as a Franciscan working with DERA?
As a Franciscan, what our role is really recognizing, as St. Francis did, that every person is created equally in the image and likeness of God. That being the case, however people are living is a concern, especially if they are the poorest, do not have the necessities of life. And of course, one of the great necessities is their housing. At our place on Cordova Street, we do feed, have an afternoon lunch that we feed to the people. And the growing number of those that not only need food, but now we found are homeless. And some of those are senior age. And when I was asked to be part of the board at DERA, I welcomed the opportunity to belong to a group that focuses on housing. I cannot imagine how a life could be lived if you do not have a roof over your head. And in terms of the seniors, one of the things that just recently happened that I think is going to impact on their life terribly are those that have been able to have their own homes, but are living so close to just what they can afford. With just that 8% increase could put them over the fact that by the time they pay the taxes and all the other costs of owning a home, I'm wondering if they have enough to eat. Because also there are many of the their medicines or whatever that they need to take that are no longer covered by the health system. That, for instance, one gentleman, while he didn't own his own home, I had met going to several different community meetings. And he was one that came to, when we had meetings with the police board, would come back to the group and report to the police what we wanted him to report and come back with the answers. And he was always really distinguished looking. And I found out that he had worked at some time in radio. So you'd think, well, maybe he had a good pension. Whatever the case was, he came to our door one day to give me a message about a meeting. And he said, I am glad I have an opportunity to talk to you. He said, because I really appreciate the soup and sandwiches that we get in the afternoon. And he had a lovely green jacket on. And he said, and I got this jacket at your clothing room. But he said, you know, the reason I need that help is that by the time I pay my rent and buy $200 a month in medications, I don't have enough for food.
Do you find many people in this position?
I think there are.
In the Downtown Eastside?
But I was surprised to find him because he was always looked like he was either well fixed or at least, you know, not somebody that you'd expect to see on our food line or come into our hot meals. So that...
How does DERA help people like him?
I wasn't at DEER at the time.
I see.
But one day, he came back another time, and he was planning on getting sports teams together. All this on as a volunteer, as a retired person. And the next thing I knew, he'd had a heart attack and died alone. But here was a man that had worked all his life, but his pension from the work that he had done was so small, it didn't keep him alive. More recently, a grandmother came to the door because somebody had told them that I worked at DEER and maybe I know something about where she could get housing. She has been in a shelter for 4 months with a 4-year-old grandchild. Her daughter was into drugs and was in prison, and she had to come from Kamloops to take care of this grandchild. Now she had to lose all the furniture she had, whatever she had up there, and has no way to really have anything except supportive housing someplace. And there is no place for her to have a home with this young child.
Do you find this is a common situation? Has it got worse in the last few years?
It has gotten, I think, tremendously, there are tremendously more people since certainly the cuts that have been made in welfare.
Right.
And even the increase in the cost of transportation, even though the seniors get it for $1.50, but even that's $3 a day when she has to go to take the child to the daycare and go back and pick it up. So it's, you know, there are costs that keep eating away at whatever funds that they have.
Right.
So, and it seems very sad that in a country where we have, certainly the government has surpluses, that the people that have worked all their lives at this point in their life are facing homelessness. Another effect that some of the cuts in the healthcare system, I heard of a woman whose father is out in I think it's Calgary, owned his own home, was on, you know, his pension, and had a serious stroke that he needed to have what she thought after he came out of the hospital and after having some therapy, was in a wheelchair, and expected at least they'd have a home attendant for 8 hours a day so that he could get his bath and get his meals and do the washing or shopping or whatever. But that has been cut out.
Really?
And so that, and she certainly couldn't leave her family and her job and everything here to go out there. She had to take her vacation time between the time he left the hospital and was supposed to come home. So the only thing they figured that he'd have to go into an assisted living. And as soon as they made all of these arrangements, then they didn't have room for him. They put him in a motel. I mean, what is, you know?
Who did that?
Yeah. I mean, it was such a cruel thing. He lost his home. He lost everything.
Right. And you deal with people like this every day? Well,
I mean, these are just some instances of those that have really suffered from losing.
What do you think should be done to try and...
First of all, I think that the healthcare system really needs to see how desperately those that have their own homes and could get the medical care, the home attendant, whether it's 8 or 12 hours a day, whatever it is, but being able to stay in their own home is certainly much more for their better health, let alone not being into one of the set up systems of the family, what do they call it, assisted living,
right,
or certainly the expensive nursing homes. They really need to...
Are there a lot of elder people, senior people here in downtown Vancouver who are living in their own homes at the moment?
No, I think many of them went into, had to go into the hotels.
Right.
And of course, many of them now, there's one elderly gentleman that I know that's in one of the hotels, and when he gets his pension or whatever money he gets, he's afraid to come out of his door. He is attacked by the people in them, and no matter who he goes to. And he has come for help from the advocates, but what can the advocates do? Because unless he knows who they are, I mean, he knows maybe what room they live in and their names, but he's afraid even for that.
Right.
Because
so you see people like this every day? Yeah. Sounds like you've got your work cut out for you.
Well, and DERA does as much as it possibly can with its advocates. And one of the reasons I'm really privileged to spend the time that I do trying to do whatever can be done to make life, not just for the elderly, but for every person. Because as we say, and we were taught, our role in life is to make sure that we feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and shelter the homeless, visit the imprisoned, and take care of the sick. That our life, all of us have such gifts.
Right.
And not to share and not to be concerned about those that live around us. And it seems that those who have the authority to do it and to arrange our society and the benefits of our society for all persons so that all can live with the dignity to which every person is called, I don't know what else elected officials should be doing.
If people in the general public who are watching this program, if they want to help, can they help? Is there a way of helping DERA and helping the elder people and the seniors in Downtown Eastside?
Yes. I don't have DERA's phone number right in my head, but I have our phone number, and we are really blessed.
We can put the number on the screen and also the website.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at least our phone number is 604-685-9987.
Great.
And that, whether it's especially if it's for DERA, my name is Sister Elizabeth, and I'd be glad to give anybody whatever information they'd like.
Thank you for coming in today.
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay. My name is Paul Ryan. We're here in Gallery Gachet for Fearless TV. We've just been talking to Sister Elizabeth Kelliher, the President of the Downtown Eastside Residents Association.
All right.
Join Fearless TV at the second annual Fearless Festival from 3 to 9 p.m. Sunday, August the 24th at Pigeon Park, corner of Hastings and Carroll. Fearless Festival programs will also be at the Interurban Gallery and the Blackwater Cafe. More info, www.fearlessfest.blogspot.com.